What's up, friends? It's the end of the year, so that means that we have to go through all the movies of 2019. Well, today we're going over the shitty ones. Hi friends, I'm Tyler. Welcome back to my channel. And yeah, today we have an interesting one in that kind of backed myself into a corner just a little bit because in the new year, I'm really wanting to avoid talking about negative stuff. So this video is kind of the complete antithesis of that. Because of that, I figure I may as well sneak this one in before I get into the more positive new year. Which, I mean, who knows? Even then, I could end up just going back to my old ways. I don't know. There's so much negative out there. I want to get into positive stuff, but that's not this video. This video is the negative. Yeah, let's get into this. I wanted to get into the overrated first because I feel like overrated and worse kind of goes together because it has a negative connotation to it. Let's just get into the overrated. Step to this side a little bit. There we go. Then I can just throw stuff up here. Little disclaimer, I like all of the movies on the overrated list. I like all of them. They're on there because I don't agree with how good people are saying that they are. Make sense? Make sense? Makes sense to me, so hopefully it makes sense to you too. First one up is Fighting with My Family. Now, I enjoyed this movie, but as a wrestling fan, there's a lot that they get wrong, and it's just unnecessary, the stuff that they do plot-wise, where I'm like, oh, I would have been more interested in seeing the actual realistic side of it, because they Hollywooded it up a little bit, kind of just lost some of the charm, and they essentially just made it more vanilla, so that's unfortunate, and yeah, that's why it's on the overrated. Next up is Detective Pikachu. Now, again, didn't hate this movie, just didn't understand the ridiculous praise that it got. Seemed like everyone loved this movie, and I don't really understand that. Oh, by the way, I guess I should have stated, this is just all movies. This isn't just horror films, mainly because horror hasn't really, horror's done all right this year, but I wouldn't even be able to make a top 5 out of the horror films that came out this year. So because of that, not talking about just horror, so probably quite obvious once I went from Fighting with My Family to Detective Pikachu, but you never know. People don't always get it. Yeah, then next up would be Shazam. Again, I think this is a fine movie. It's not great. I think just the fact that DC made a movie that wasn't dog shit, suddenly people felt they had to really praise it. It's a fine movie, but it has so many flaws, and it's way too dark and gritty for a superhero movie. DC just can't figure that out, where it's we don't need dark and gritty for every superhero. Yeah, it makes sense for Batman. It doesn't make sense for Shazam. But yeah, I thought that was just odd. Next up is the film that this is gonna draw so much ire, and I don't really want that. Oh, fuck. Whatever, just have to do it. Joker. Okay, now, I like this movie. I really liked it. However, all the people calling it a masterpiece, that is why it's on this list. There's so many flaws with this film. I think that it could have been a lot better if they had just called it Clown and got rid of any Batman references. But as is, it's just kind of very, very middle of the road, and honestly, it's Joaquin Phoenix's performance that pushes it over the top. Everything else is very mediocre, which is why, I wouldn't have even talked about this movie if it hadn't been called a masterpiece all over the place. I think I would have liked it more if I hadn't seen that, because when I see a film being called a masterpiece, I'm expecting to go into it and not see a bunch of problems. And that was not the case with this film. Pacing, editing, simple editing, I had issues with. Honestly, I could do a whole video on the issues that I have with this film. And, it's out digitally, so I might do that in the future. So I guess you'll have to look out for it. I didn't hate the movie. I just don't think it's a masterpiece. So that's why it ends up on this overrated list. But yeah, let's get into my actual top 5 worst films of 2019. I expected this to be a lot easier to make, not gonna lie. I thought for sure it would come to me a lot quicker, and then when I looked and saw the films that I watched this year, I realized that I've avoided a lot of the films that I thought were terrible. So this was a little bit harder to make, but I still made the list. First up, yeah, DC has been on here a lot. I love DC. A bunch of graphic novels and comics over there. A lot of them are DC. I love DC, but DC animated films have had some issues this year. First up would be Batman Hush. and this movie just sucks. Like, that's all there is to it. They need to start spending some money on animation. Just try. That'd be nice. The story itself is always, it's so good in the comics that just how much they neutered it here really gives me no hope for The Long Halloween, which The Long Halloween is my favorite comic of all time. Like, it's not even close. Like, there's many things that I love, but that's been at the top of the heap for a decade now for me. I absolutely love it, and yeah, it's really frustrating that DC Animation just seems to keep having a lot of issues. Which brings me to my number 4 on this list. That is Batman versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I believe that's what it's called. This movie, it started off strong. I felt that the turtle interactions were fun, but once the second half starts, it's fucking awful. The first half, I'm like, it's all right. But the fact that the second half is so bad is what puts it on this list. Next up is, we're finally getting into horror. Next up is one that I've actually spotlighted on this channel. It's one of my favorite videos actually that I've ever made. That would be Brightburn. Now, you can check out the video to see all the issues I had with it, but it's just simply not a good movie. It's just not. There's a lot of potential there and a lot of things that I wanted to go right that just didn't, and that's all right. They tried. Next up, Escape Plan. I'll be honest, this movie's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. However, it's still not good and it still sucks. It's really dumb, it's really stupid, it's really silly, and if I did this list a year from now, I think I'd have a lot more bad horror films on it, but I don't go see bad horror films in the theaters. I wait for that shit to hit Netflix or I pick it up from the library. And that's how I saw Escape Plan. I saw it because I got it from the library. Because I heard it was really bad and I liked seeing dumb bad movies, but this one was just bad. Now, the last one on this list is truly one of the worst films of the decade. That is X-Men Dark Phoenix. Holy shit, this movie is bad. Now, Jennifer Lawrence is an amazing actress. You can see that in pretty much any film that she's in. But not this one, because she's awful in this one. I feel like you could just see her collecting checks on screen. It's like, yeah, they kind of just roped her into a more lead role in this franchise because of how big she got, because Mystique's always just a side character. That's what she is. She is a side character. And so Jennifer Lawrence being cast and then blowing up kind of changed that. And so they were able to do some unique things with her in this film, but it's still just fucking awful. So bad. And she is bad in it. Everyone is bad in it. It is mind-blowing just how people can go like from one film to another. The differences that can happen when you have someone that just doesn't know what they're doing, and I think Simon Kinberg just really doesn't know what he's doing. He's a mess. Yeah, that's really all. I don't want to keep harping on all these terrible movies, but please make sure you do not go see Dark Phoenix because it is god-awful and is the one movie on this list to absolutely avoid. Do not see this movie. It is that bad. But that's really all. Hope that you guys enjoyed. You guys already know what's coming next week. We're doing the best of 2019 and the most underrated of 2019. I will see you then. Hey friends, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and check out this video that YouTube thinks that you would like.